Okay, here we are. This stream is going to be about all of you who actually want to know about Confluence, what Confluence is, or maybe you have stumbled upon Confluence on the web. You actually might have been also using collaboration tools just like Notion or something like that, but your team actually decides that they want to work with your Confluence, but you really don't know what Confluence actually is. The first recommendation here is to watch all possible Atlassian University courses that are free, of course, and also that are offering the materials that are actually based on the Confluence. I will actually go from scratch in here, so I will go from the creating of the spaces, looking from the admin perspective, and also looking from the user's perspective. When it comes to looking on the pages, and also I will be tackling some of the features, just like Confluence whiteboards. I will also go with the Confluence databases, because these two features were not part of the Confluence at all, and when it came to like the collaboration and creating the whiteboards, you would actually have to use Miro for as a whiteboard solution. But of course, you can also integrate your Miro whiteboards with your Confluence pages, so that can also work. That is the another thing. All right. So the very first thing in here is when you actually log into your Confluence, you're going to see a bunch of these navigation pages. The first one is in here is actually your company hub. Now, when it comes to the company hub, this is something that can be changed by the Confluence admins. You can actually change like the cover image in here. All right, so this is what happens when I open this up. So this is actually pretty great for, let's say, like a small business that is introducing the documentation for the users. This could be either your developers, your finance team, your HR, project managers, so folks like that. And you can really customize this however you actually want. You can update the header image in here. Let's say I want to change to this one, and this is like the landing page for your company. Now, of course, this doesn't actually have to be a small business, of course, but this is something that you can create. This could be like a single landing page or single page that your users can actually be landing on. When it comes to your home, so this is what mostly you will spend a lot of your time in. This is where you can actually see the spaces themselves. You can actually see the work that was actually recent, that you were working on the recent work, the work that was actually being started, which is this right here. All of the drafts. So if I actually click on here, I can create a page, and when I create a page and I don't save it, I don't publish it, it will be remaining as a draft. So this is your place when you want to find your draft pages. Okay. And also when it comes to tasks, you also have like tasks that are assigned to me. I have like the tasks that were also created by me, and what I can actually see in here, what is the description in here, and I can also see in which page this was indeed. So it's like the documents that were created by myself. When you get invited to join the specific space, and you were giving the specific permissions for that space by your space administrator, the another space that you will have by the default is going to be your personal space. This personal space is, like the name says, it's actually for you to have your archive of pages that are not publicly available to anyone, except if you don't want that page to be acceptable by someone else. So if I actually click in here, so this is my personal space, and this is where I can, where I can be. So in here I also have like the space settings. In here, if I click on space settings, and then if I click on the space axis and I go for the users, what I can actually do is I can click on edit, and I can search for the internal database that is within the user management, and I can actually add people in here. So if I type for a name here, I can add a specific user in here, and let's say I want only for them to be available to only view this specific space. I'm just going to have this checkbox in here checked, and I'm going to click on save, and when this user actually comes, they will actually see also in within their space is my personal space as well. So the thing is, you can also share your personal spaces. Let me go back to home here. Besides, your personal spaces are actually going to be the spaces that you are currently having the access to. Now, of course, this access is varying based on the permissions that were given by your space administrator. So let us take a look at that. So I'm gonna be clicking on security operations in here. So within this security operations in here, I can click on all content in here, and I can see basically, all of the content. I can sort by the newest, by the oldest. I can sort by from A to Z or from Z to A. It really doesn't matter. It's just filtering out on however I found it more to be productive for me. I can also search by the title if I want, so that is another advantage in here. Also, we have the blogs. So this actually means, it says bring this space to life. There aren't any blogs in here. Okay, so can I create a blog? And the thing is, yes, I can have this blog post title. So when you're creating the things, you're getting this editor being open to you, and you're always gonna have your title in here, because if you don't have a title and you're trying to save your page with the rest of the information you were actually given, it's not gonna allow you to save that before writing out the title. So I'm going to say my blog. I'm going to say hello everyone. And now when I have this, this is considered to be a draft in here. And since this is actually considered to be a draft, you also have this option where it says to close the draft, where it's to save the changes without publishing them. So this is something, if you're not actually really ready to publish your page, it could be also in your drafts, which is a pretty good thing. Right here, what you actually have is going to be like your toolbar, if I can say it like that. So you have the options for the creating of the text, like selecting heading 1. So it's like heading from 1 to 6. This is pretty similar with the HTML, because the HTML also has the headings from 1 to 6 as well. So if I choose like the heading 1, it's gonna say, I'm gonna say here heading 1. So this one is the largest one. And of course below that, when I hit enter, it leads me to a normal text where I can start typing everything out. Of course, if I want this to bold, italic, or I can actually make this to be underlined straight through. I believe that you already know this, because 100% I'm sure that you were encountering with Word, probably Microsoft Word, and that you were already using this. So there is also like the place for the code, like for example, and from here I can type in like print hello, and I can close this. So now it's gonna look like a code snippet in here. So this is the difference. So you can format it to be like to look like a code block. Of course, you have your text alignment, where you can text align on the left, on the in the middle, and also to align it on the right. You also have the option for your text colors, your highlight colors. So highlight color is kind of a newer feature. So this is something that is good. So I can say, teal, and this is what is it going to do. It's going to highlight this in blue. Also, I have like bullet lists or numbered lists. I can also indent the tab. If I want to insert in here the action item itself, so what I can do is I can put in the action item, and I can also mention an action item, so I can assign it to someone else. And I can say something like to follow up on the meeting brief, for example. So this is going to be the action point, and that user is going to get a notification that they have been mentioned within this specific page, and then they can look at it. And what is also the recommendation for you is, in order to actually stay focused on the work that is being added, assigned to you, you should actually star that work. So every time you actually log into the Confluence, you are going to see your important work listed in there. So those are the action items that you can use. One thing that I was using back then when I was a product manager, I was using a lot of these action items in order to mention people what we have agreed that their assignments are going to be. And I was using the mentioning. So next time on the next meeting, I could get some of the feedback on what was happening with that. So that is a nice use case of it. Of course, you can actually have some of the links in here. You can search or paste the link, or you can find from the Confluence in here, Loom or Jira. Now, the thing is, when it comes to Loom itself is a separate product that recently it was bought by the Atlassian, and the Loom is now part of the Atlassian itself. And basically, it's a video recording video recording software. Now, the main idea with the Loom is actually to try minimize the amount of the meetings that it could take in. Let's say the whole meeting you can take, and that could be one email. Okay, that's one thing. And the another thing is, if you just want to get to the point, you just want to say what are the goals, what are the tasks that need to be accomplished, and the team itself, assuming that everyone is working by the agile methodology, that your team is going to be self-organized and they're going to be assigning that work amongst themselves, based on, of course, on the role that they're representing. So in Jira, for Jira, I can actually link a Jira issue in here. Now, the thing what I actually did in here, it was when I clicked on this, when I linked the Jira issue, there were like options in here. So so this is like the URL, right? This is one thing how we can see it. I can see it then inline as the inline. I can also see it as a card, or if I want this to be embedded. And now what it actually does, it really embeds the Jira issue that I can put inside my documentation right here. And I can also see what is going on in here. The funny thing in here is I can also edit this very issue from my Confluence. So this is something that is pretty awesome that you can actually do within the Confluence itself. All right, and let's say that I wanna publish my page. Okay, I'm done, and when I click on the publish, it doesn't publish it right away. So first it asked me for my location. I want it to be here, and I have the access levels in here. So it's saying first, anyone in this space can edit and view this. Anyone in this space can view. Only some people can edit, and I can see only specific people can view and edit. Let's say that you have some documentation that you actually don't want to share with a lot of people, with just some certain colleagues. You want to share the documentation, and you basically create it and you say, only specific people can view and edit this. And I'm going to say, yeah, okay, who is this? So it's gonna be obviously me, with that I can actually edit this, and I can add another person here. I can say, you know what, this other person can only view this. But of course you're going to get to some of the things in here. It's saying this user needs an access to this specific space first. And I'm going to say, yeah, okay, and I'm going to publish this, even though that person doesn't have the access to this space. And what happens in here? So how am I going to solve that problem? Well, first of all, I need to be the space administrator myself. So in order to actually take a look at this, I'm going to click on the space settings in here. I'm going to for the space access in here. And I can see from here, I'm not even listed to be actually there. But the question is, how can I actually see this? Well, because I am actually the Confluence administrator. When it comes to the Confluence administrator, I can see basically all of the spaces in there. So this is like you're the Jira administrator, and you can even see some of the private team managed projects that were created within your specific site. So now what I can do, I can say, you know what? I can add myself, and I can add everything. And I want to add this user as well, but I just want them to be able to view this. Is that okay? Yeah, alright, whatever. Okay, so now let me look for the page I was working on. So now this thing comes, right? So I was working on the specific page, but I forgot its name. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on recent, and I'm going to click on the recent thing I was actually looking for. So as you can see, there is no more of that error when it came and saying like this person needs a permission in order to view it first. So there is no errors about that at all. Okay, that's good. So you actually go from home, then you also have from the recent. And this is actually pretty good because you can see the recent things that you were working on today, the last week, and also in the last month. And I can specify and saying, you know what, these were the things I was specifically working on. So the current user that is logged into the Confluence will of course see different things on within the worked on. I can also click on created by me. So these are the pages that were actually created by me. So some of the pages in here are going to be appearing as the default ones, and this is if you're actually creating your space from the scratch. We will also be covering that as well, because you also have the templates that you can actually start from. All right, so we covered those things. All right, we covered the spaces with themselves. Okay, that's good. So I created a blog post, but most importantly, I want to create a page. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to say create a page. So there are some things in here. All right, on the right side in here, the first thing that you will actually notice are these templates right here. And right now, they're like available 143 templates, and this is actually pretty great because templates can save you significant amount of time. It did save a significant amount of time for me because I was using these product requirements templates when I was a product manager, when I was writing the product requirement documents for our client, in order to actually understand the whole, you know, feature things. So let us take on that one, right? And I'm going to say browse products, and I'm going to say PRD. And this is what we have in here, right? So this is your template. This is how it actually looks. Of course, you can start writing everything from the scratch, but my recommendation is, if you can, use templates as much as you can, because it's gonna save you a significant amount of time, just like it did save the time for me. All right. So what is the next thing? So then you start writing out some things. So first of all, who is going to be, let's say, the document owner? And I'm going to say it's going to be me, of course. There we go. And I can specify and I can say, you know what, who is going to be the designer? Our designer is going to be this user right here. We have tech leads, no. Technical writers, no. There was one person that you actually saw in there, and in here it's saying guest. Okay, so in Confluence itself, you have the regular standard license for the Confluence users, and you have the license that is going to be for your guests. What is the difference? Well, guests are not being built towards you. So they're actually free, but of course they come with their own limitations. Alright, I'm going to select this person in here, and now I can start writing everything out. Okay. That's actually pretty good. So do I have some other things that I want to, talk about? So in here, what can actually be done? So there's some inline comments. What actually this means? This means that if I say something like explain this to me please, and if someone is seeing that and they're like, oh, alright, explain this to me please, they're gonna be like, okay, and I can comment on this. I can say something like, this is a demo, for example. That's one thing. And in here it's gonna say, this is a demo. And I can click on this, and when I click on this, it's gonna display me this comment right here. And you can actually continue with a conversation within that specific comment, which is actually an interesting thing because it brings that a sense of asynchronous communication that that is, well, interesting. So the another thing is that we actually have in here is of course the drafts themselves, and now in here it's saying document status. And now if I go, I can select, yeah, this can actually be in draft, this can be actually in progress. It really depends, And let's say I write everything down, and I'm gonna be like, anyone in this space can view and edit. Not an ideal thing, especially when you have the PRD document right there, because someone can actually jump in, they can edit everything that you have written, and then it can be like, oh, this wasn't actually something that was in the PRD itself. But the thing is, what you can always do is you can actually go through your logs and you can see what was actually happening in there, if it actually goes that much deep. But let's hope it doesn't, okay? Alright, so what else do we have in here? So we can edit this. So when you actually press on E, it will automatically go to your editor, right? And if you actually click on update, that's it. So you need to be editing this in order to change the information within your specific documents. What you can also do is you can record a Loom video if you actually want to do this, of course. And I can, if I want, I can say, you know what, I wanna start recording. All right, now it's asking me some other things to do, which I basically don't want to, and I just wanna exit from this, and basically that's it. Great feature in here is, let's say that your document is like really big, it has like, I don't know, from 5 to 6 pages or even maybe more, and you're like, you know what, I don't have time for this. I don't want to, first of all, I don't want to be working overtime in order to read some of the documents in order to understand what is happening, because most of the time I'm actually on my meetings with the stakeholders, with the development team, to actually understand the need of the new feature, to understand our strategic approach around that feature, and etc. A lot of things going on. I'm gonna be like, you know what, I see this document right here, but if I actually click on summarize in here, what is happening is
you have the Atlassian intelligence that actually does the things for you. But be warned that content quality may vary. Of course, you actually, if you want to really uh, to get more into the AI and how it works, the Atlassian intelligence, you can actually click on this link right here. It will lead you to the referred page in order to actually show you more data that is relevant. Of course, you can actually start this as well. You can go with the automation. There's some restrictions in here. Okay, so I can say I can say something like inspect permissions. Yeah, this is something else. The thing is, you can restrict some of your pages, right? So not all of the pages need to be visible. Okay, so that is the thing, because not all of the pages should be visible. I mean, this also depends on what role you're working on, which sector, and everything like that. But it always comes to that, not everyone should be seeing everything. Even though that we're actually, colleagues, and you even know if it's, everything is working fine. But I don't want to be someone who is like from the business sector to be actually looking around about the documentation that is related to the database of our infrastructure, with some of the code in it, and actually how all of those things work. Why? What can actually happen? Let's say I get fired tomorrow or something like that, but I still got the access to confidential information, and I want to exploit it. Because I was angry, and in the act of revenge, I actually do it. So yeah, that is something that you should be that you should be concerned about that, because your confidentiality of your confidentiality, integrity, and availability triad is going to be ruined, and you actually don't want that. Yeah, those basic principles of cybersecurity. Anyways, yeah, these are about the pages themselves. Okay, spaces. Let's talk about the spaces. Now, the first very thing is you're actually going to see the spaces in here where you have the specific access to. Okay, you're not going to be able to view all of the spaces, because the only ones who have this power are the Confluence administrators, not the space administrators, because the space administrators is only the administrator for this one, only for this specific space right here. That is your space administrator. Your Confluence administrator can see each and every single space. But enough of that. Let's create a space in here. Alright, so the very first thing is you're going to name your space. How are you going to name your space? I'm going to name it live demo. And I'm gonna choose an icon. I'm gonna be going with this one. And in here, it's saying choose a purpose for this space. Uh, back, I think it was like a month ago, you were actually bombarded with all of those templates to create within the Confluence itself. Now it's everything is under the collaboration, the knowledge base, and the custom. So from here, it's giving you some kind of sense to know which type you actually want to create. And I'm gonna say, you know what? I want to collaborate my team a bit closer. Okay, so when it comes to permissions, you have three permissions. First, this one is only visible to me. That's one thing. Default permissions, like the permissions that you get when you create your own very first space. That actually means that the only person who has access to that specific space is you. But the thing is, you can actually add some other users within that space. Or another thing is you can copy permissions from another space, which is actually pretty interesting. So if I click on this, and if I go which space I want to copy, I want to copy software space. And I want to say what is going to be my space key. It's going to be this one. One thing to mention, in Jira, you're actually able to change your project key in Confluence. Once you actually set up your space key, there is no turning back. You cannot change it back. I click on next. The next window I'm presented with are the features that I want to involve. So first of all, let's say I don't want to involve the blocks. I don't want to go with the automation. Don't really care about that. I don't care about databases, smart links. Whiteboards, yeah, because maybe there's going to be some other collaboration with my team, so I want to leave it there. And I want to keep it simple. Alright, so when you create your space, you're actually presented with these templates right here. And this is something that you can delete at any time, or you can archive. So of course the difference between archiving and deleting is with the archiving you can actually restore some of your work. With deleting there is no turning back. You cannot restore it. Okay, so now I have for the live demo in here. What do I have in here? So I go to the space settings in here. When it comes to the space settings in here, so I'm presented with monitoring and tools, and it's leading me to mission control. Now, within the mission control, I have these charts available in here. And now it's giving me a bit more information on how many content views, how many content was created, how many totals, are there any guests, and in here it's saying to manage the permissions, where I'm seeing like guests are not allowed in here and anonymous access it's not allowed in here. When it comes to the anonymous access, it actually means that basically anyone on the internet, when you give them the link, they can access this specific space without having the Confluence license. So this is really something that you should consider, because if you allow the anonymous access, basically anyone on the internet can actually, well, be looking for that. And someone is going to say, yeah, you know, how they're going to be finding about that. How do you know? How do you know? Because within the Google search engine has its own really interesting filters that could be used. Those filters, of course, they can be handful in order to find some information that is really useful for real, or it can be exploited. So it could, bad actors could be running into your Confluence space, looking into things that they shouldn't be looking for. And also in here there are specified space administrators. Of course, this needs to be determined as well. And the other graphs in here. So that is for the mission control. You also have the automation for Confluence. So this is like in Jira, when you're creating a specific automation based on some kind of a trigger, something happens. Okay? And there are some stuff in here, right? There you can use the cross product. You can use cross product. You can use it for the collaboration, organization as well, or you can create your own rules. I'm not gonna go through that because that could be something for its own. Content manager. Okay, in here the content manager could be really useful because you can see which pages were updated when. And let's say if one page was not updated, I don't know, for 2 years or something like that, why is it still active? That should be archived for real. Okay, and then you have like general things like space details. You go for the space details, it gives you the things like to edit to for the name, for the key, what is going to be the homepage. You can change this homepage to be something else, something different. What are going to be the categories, and in here it says the collaboration. That is because we have chosen the template itself to be the collaboration, and also the administrators in here. Features themselves, well, are going to be these features in here. There's an option to archive this or to send this space to trash. It's even saying that basically space can only be recovered from the trash by your Confluence admin, not your space administrator, Confluence administrator. Exporting of the space. Now, you're going to be given options to this only if you have the space permission for exporting the space. If you do not have that, you're not going to be able to see this. And we also have the content statuses. Alright, when it comes to the statuses themselves, you can actually define what are the statuses. Like if it's in rough draft, is it in progress, is it for ready for review, or things like that. This is also handy for having the PRD documents. Back in the day, I wasn't actually doing this because approving step were approving step was done within the meeting itself, so it wasn't actually in there. Convert pages, I wasn't actually really using this. Related pages, not so, let's say, important. You can always turn this off if you want. So, but you can also define default behavior. Is it going to be showing or not? This could be handy if the user is actually searching for something, then they get suggested for another thing that they might be also be interesting about if they want to read more. So you should be having this to be turned on. Okay, go back to space settings. We went for this. Most important part in here is going to be the space axis in here. Okay, this is where a lot of things are actually happening. So as a space administrator, as you can see, I have options for everything. And these are your permissions. So first of all, this is the view permission, and this is the view all permission. So your users that you have been adding in here, they are going to be able to view your space only, if that is the goal, to view only. Delete own. So this actually means that any page or any whiteboard or any Confluence database that they actually create, they can delete as well. Pages, whiteboards, databases, and smart links. Add, archive, delete. For blogs, add and delete. Comments, same restrictions. This is when it comes to restricting the pages. You saw that lock on the top right side of our page when we were creating it. Yeah, that was it. So that is one thing. Space exports. Okay, this actually needs to be handled in a careful manner, because There are a lot of space export in a short amount of time. That actually means someone is up to no good, and it means like someone is trying to do something bad with those spaces, even though if they're gonna be claiming like, oh no, I was actually doing this for, I don't know, my project or something like that. Yeah, sure. And having like 50 space exports in under 5 minutes, that is like really suspicious behavior, and you're like, nah man, you're doing something malicious. You're not going to have this permission anymore. And also for the administrator itself. Okay, that means that you're the space admin. Okay, you also have access for groups. All right, the same thing applies for the guests, where you can actually define the users that currently have individual access rights to this specific space. But if I'm actually searching for this specific user, Ryan Lee, I can say, you know what, Ryan can actually view this. And since the Ryan is going to be the guest, he's going to be there. Anonymous users, already told what this is. Analytics permissions. Alright, no restrictions. Viewing analytics. Okay. Alright. Permissions changes are saved. And this user can view the analytics. What I can actually do in here, I can search for another one. Only some people can view the analytics, so this person can actually view the analytics. But if I put it like this, it means only me, I'm actually able to see it, the analytics, no one else. This is actually pretty great because there could be some interesting data in there that you just want to protect. Okay. Yeah, we have created our space. We have one guest within our space. Also, we have the permissions for the content, where you want to be focused on the things, something like restricted, when there is actually a restriction in here. And it's saying there are no pages at the moment that have been restricted. But the thing is, as a space admin, you can actually see the restricted pages in here. So that is one thing that you should know. Okay. Trash restricted. So there is actually content that was actually being in the trashed or archived pages. Even some of the attachments in here that you can actually see. The list of the attachments, which is a pretty great thing that you can filter based on. Still a thing that doesn't completely exist in Jira. It exists in business projects, but in software projects it doesn't exist. So I believe that when the merge comes, the attachments will actually be there. So yeah. Okay. Hidden pages as well, if this is actually something that needs to be find, you can see the hidden content as well in there. This right here, I don't want to go through it because it's really something that is not, that much important. Application links when it comes to the integrations. So the one thing that you can add a link here is I can link this with some of the projects. And I can say, you know what, I have a link between the Jira and this is the name of the project. Okay, and now I have the link between these two. This is actually pretty great because it means that I can even insert some of the issues from the Jira and this specific project in here. RSS feeds. Subscribe to RSS feeds, be notified on the new updated content within the Confluence. but you will need the RSS client or this enabled in a web browser. The thing that was actually done was this. There was like a subscription in here, and yeah, workspace and everything, but basically it was like every time a new page was actually created, everyone within the specific Slack channel, they were notified about this, and of course the name of the creator who actually did all of those things. All right, good. A lot of things that we actually have covered. Yeah. uh of course there's some other things in here. You create your pages, that you create your whiteboards. Whiteboards are interesting because they really remind of Miro. Yeah, not sure how many of you folks are actually using the Miro, but it is a recognized whiteboard software, and it's being used by a lot of product teams. Okay. So what else do we have in here? Well, I can also select a simple retrospective. And this is how my whiteboard actually looks like. So I can zoom in, I can zoom out, I can add a sticker in here, I can say, well done on the project XYZ. For example, this right here is a sprint retrospective. Actually looks pretty good. Yeah, this is a great template to be honest. And there are a lot of things that you can actually do in here. You can draw shapes, you can put in the text, you can have the section, you can import from the Jira, and I can import the issue, and this issue can actually be here. What went well? Well, this issue right here. I can import and I can say what didn't actually go well. Well, this issue right here. Why? Well, because it took us longer than expected and things like that. Yada 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 yada. And it moves on. You have stamps. Actually, never used them before, but okay, I can apply stamps in here. Interesting. I can add a link here. I can add the timer. I can track the time. Basically a lot of things. I can create Jira issue. Select sticky note to create Jira issue. This one. I can say this is going to be issue type or task. And this is going to be within the CRM. For example, assignee, assign this to me. Great. It's not being set. No results found. Alright. No request types. Here, create. And now, as you can see, this sticky note right here is now a Jira issue. And I can click on this, and it's gonna lead me directly to this specific Jira issue. Alright. Okay, I don't know if this is something new, because views, now it's saying views, I have board calendar. Okay. Okay, so those were the whiteboards. From here, we covered a lot of things, basically. And, yeah, I just want to add it in here. The goal of this whole course was actually to take you from someone who didn't know about Confluence and all to actually turn them into a super user and someone who actually can contribute to the documentation. All right, that is it. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to the channel. See you in the next